You pick the side, I just hope you gon' stand on it.
Welcome back, y'all. This is Stand On It podcast. We're doing it a little different today. I don't got my brother with me right now, Khalil, taking care of some business outside of the space. So, wishing my boy back whenever he is. But right now, I got my other brother with me. So, I'm going to let him introduce himself to the Stand On It family. Go ahead, bro.
What's going on, y'all? It's Rajay. You know what I'm saying? Instagram Rajay J. Just a little background on me. We went to school together. We all went to middle school together, and we in the fantasy league together. So you'll hear my name a lot more. Former Division I DB, current varsity DBs coach in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I only say that to say I know what I'm talking about. But we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty. Also a Raiders fan. So you see me in Tay 20 with the Tay jersey. Unfortunately, we done had a rough start to the year. We'll talk about that a little later on, but
Man.
I believe silver and black. So regardless, I'm riding.
Man, I appreciate you joining us, man. Hey, like he said, give him a follow. He's part of the Stand On the family now. First guest that we had. So we appreciate you taking out the time, bro. So now we're gonna get into our first segment. So we're gonna try to recap the games from last week. And me and Rajay give each other our opinions on what were our takeaways from all those games that we were keying on. So the first game that we're gonna talk about was the Thursday night game a week before last was the Rams and Niners. Rajay, what would you say was the biggest takeaway from that game?
The biggest takeaway is regardless of what's going on, CMC is the system. Brock Purdy got a $60 million contract or whatever the figure ended up being, but the system is Christian McCaffrey. As long as McCaffrey is healthy, the Niners will make it happen. They had Mac Jones back there, looking good. Kendrick Bourne coming out and having a resurgent career type of day. Jawan Jennings out. Brock Purdy out, Ricky Pearsall out, George Kittle out, all these guys out. Jordan Mason that was on the team last year, he's out
Hmm.
out of the door. But as long as they got McCaffrey, they got a chance, and it's just a testament to good organizations build schemes and they build a team in a certain way. And regardless of, it's that next man up mentality, they're always gonna be able to find a way to get it done. And it sucks to say it because I don't like the Niners, but it's just, I gotta be honest with it. You feel me? So yeah.
Hey, we in that same boat, bro. It'd be hard to, I don't like the Niners. All the Niner fans know I troll them, but I gotta not be biased, bro. That's, I gotta be honest with the people, man. But
Yeah.
my takeaway from that game is, like you said, I say like Christian McCaffrey too, but Shanahan was about if he just got competent quarterback play, he usually is okay. And I know Brock Purdy's been out, and when he's been in, he's been kind of turning over the ball a lot, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So yeah, so Mac Jones, first round pick. It was rumors that they were trying to get him, but they ended up going with Trey Lance, and Mac Jones is making the most out of his opportunity, and he looked good against the Rams. They're no slouch. Their front seven is arguably one of the best front sevens in the NFL. So yeah, but I really think the Rams really lost that game in my opinion. I think Sean McVay got real conservative, and Kyron Williams was about to score and got a fumble, nice punch out by that Niners defender. And Puka Nacua was had an okay game, but they didn't really feature him as much. Devontae Adams had a good game. Matthew Stafford threw for over 300 yards. So I just think they got real conservative, and then running that 4th-and-1 play and Kyron Williams is 5'9", it's more easier for them to get penetration and get a stop. So I think Sean McVay dropped the ball and they honestly could be 5-0, but that blocked field goal versus the Eagles, they lost that game. So I just think he got real conservative. So that would be my takeaway from that Thursday game.
So,
Uh what about we're gonna move on to the next game, and that was the Eagles and Broncos.
yeah.
Go ahead, Rajay. Tell them how you felt about that game.
Yeah, so Eagles Broncos is an interesting game. I didn't watch too much of this game live, but just looking back on it is and looking at this the entire year for the Eagles, I heard somebody say that the Eagles this year are pretty much the 2024 Chiefs, where in
Mm-hmm.
all of their games up until that point, their first 4 or 5 games before the Broncos, I think it's four, um, all one score games. Even you talked about Jordan Davis, the block field goal. That was really a 1 point game, block field goal score. It ends the
Mm-hmm.
game, makes it look a little more, but it was still even one score after that. All of their games up until this point are really down to the wire, and that offense hasn't looked as functional as it was before. The offensive line's been kind of banged up. Saquon hasn't really been able to get going, and then you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith not really getting featured in the passing game as much as you would expect for two really talented receivers. But I think the biggest thing, and it's crazy because I'm a big Cam Newton fan. I love Cam Newton. And
Right.
he said something, and I've said this before too, where guys like Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, when he was a quarterback for the Niners, they are game managers in the sense that their job is not to go out there and be Patrick Mahomes, be Joe Burrow, be Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. They're not trying to, their game plan is not to go win the game, it's to not lose the game. So it's
Right.
play turnover free football, it's stay ahead of the chains, it's make the right decisions and put us in positions where we can win the game, leaning on your defense, all of those things. And when you put a guy in a position where he has to win, you see what comes out of that. And it's not like Jalen Hurts necessarily played bad, but I think the Eagles got to do better at featuring AJ Brown throughout the entire game and not just when they're behind and they need to pass, because it makes it so obvious when you got Pat Surtain and a good, Jahdae Barron and a good Broncos defense. It's a lot harder when they know you're going out to try to pass the ball versus being a little more diverse in your play calls. And so I still think the Eagles are a good team, but like it's very similar and akin to, like I said, 2024 Chiefs, where all the wins, it was like 15 or so games, one score games, and they win in so many of those games. And you see they get into the playoffs and they go against an Eagles or a really good other team and they get smoked because you can't afford to hang around and not execute, to the highest level. So that's probably my biggest oversight from that game for sure.
Yeah, bro. I'm with you on that. I actually said that too not too long ago about the Eagles as the 2024 Chiefs. They've been winning all these one-score games, and we'll get to it later about the Giants game too. That game messed up them too as well. But
Yeah.
I just think they haven't sustained the whole game of good offense. Either they have a bad first half and a good second half, or a good second half and a bad first half. So I think that's the problem now. You see AJ Brown is real frustrated. And in my opinion, I think this is his last year in Philadelphia. I think they're going to move on from him because even though they won a Super Bowl last year, he wasn't, or this year now, he wasn't real happy about, them winning. He said he still wanted stats. And I'm with him. Like, me and my brother go back and forth about this. My brother Devon, shout out Devon, we go back and forth on this, and he said, "Well, if they're winning, he shouldn't be complaining." But when receivers don't get based off of how many rings they got, and he already got his ring, they're trying to chase going to the Hall of Fame, which is receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns. So they're measured on that. Nobody says, "Oh, well, he can't make the Hall of Fame because he has no rings." Shoot, Randy Moss doesn't have a ring. Terrell Owens don't have a ring. Larry Fitzgerald don't have a ring. Calvin Johnson don't have a ring. So, but they got the stats to prove that they were one of the greats. Only person that really get judged, or only position that get really judged about rings, is quarterbacks. That's it. So I understand how he feels. He wants to put up his number, keep making Pro Bowls and All Pros. So I just think he's not real satisfied. And Saquon is not Saquon right now, and that should be no surprise because when you run for 2,000 yards, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. And a lot of people that run 2,000 yards, they don't come back having 2,000 yards again. It's going to be a drop off. So I just think they got to figure that part out, bro. I think that's what's really killing them right now. In the passing game, Jalen Hurts hasn't made the significant jump that I thought he would as a passer, and that's what's hurting them right now. So that will be our takeaways from that game. And then the next game that we will be talking about will be the Bucs and the Seahawks. Battle of the best uniforms in the league, throwbacks
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So go
Yeah.
ahead, give me your takeaway on that.
Sure, for sure. And it was a barn burner. That game, that out of the last week's slate, that was probably the game I watched the most of. And it was just it was just a great back and forth. Like every single time Seattle would do something, the Buccaneers would respond. Every single time the Buccaneers would do something, Seattle would respond. It was one of those games that it just came down to who had the ball last, honestly. And so JSN and Nick Buka. I mean, I got a homie he's from Louisiana. He always talk about how LSU is wide receiver you. I ain't gonna lie.
Hmm.
Ohio State is really pushing that envelope because they got so many dudes that are talented, so many dudes that's doing it. Like you got to think about this. At one point in time, like even Jamison Williams, a lot of people don't know this. Jamison Williams was at Ohio State before he was at Alabama,
Hmm.
but he couldn't
Yep.
play. So that's
Yep.
why he ended up transferring to Alabama because they had all these dudes ahead of him.
Hmm.
And just watching that game, like I said, like Baker Mayfield has been playing out of his mind. And
Yep.
the biggest, I think every single win they had this year, it came down to a game winning drive at the end of the game.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield, a guy that was primed for these moments, former walk-on, and you see what he did at Oklahoma, becoming a Heisman winner. And he always had that moxie and that like attitude and that charisma of like guys want to follow him and get behind him. And he just
Mm-hmm.
led them and it was just a great game to watch from both sides. And especially like I got some Emeka Buka in fantasy football. I got some JSN. So I was enjoying, watching the duel between those dudes. But I'll throw this in there too, is the Bucs. I'll say it now. This is the team that I think, or a team that I think can make a Super Bowl run. And the reason I say it is they have
Ooh.
the quarterback. They got the
Mm-hmm.
guy that's gonna make the decisions down the stretch that you need. They have the receiving game. Obviously, Mike Evans is out and Chris Godwin's out for this week, but they should be healthier as they get closer and closer to the playoffs. And their defense is one thing that's stepping up too. Their run defense is really good. And I think Todd Bowles is the type of coach that down the stretch, when you get into those moments where you gotta have it, he'll come up with. I've seen all type of. I follow pages on Instagram that they have all type of blitz breakdowns and stuff, and you just see the type of stuff that the Bucs cook up, and they're a dangerous team. I don't think they're on everybody's radar yet, but I think they will be, and especially when we come February, I think they're one of they'll be representing the NFC. So
Ooh. Okay. We got our first. We got our first prediction right there. I like that,
as a
bro. I
goal,
like
gotta
that.
stand on it. Gotta stand on it.
Hey man, I appreciate that, bro. Shoot, I'm with you though, man. That was a great game. That was a shootout. Sam Darnold had that costly interception, and that really turned the tide, in my opinion. It probably was gonna go into overtime if Sam Darnold didn't throw that interception. But I'm with you, bro. And Tampa Bay have been real clutch every game. They only lost to the Eagles. That's their only loss so far. Uh, so I just think, man, they haven't even got their full strength, like you said. They three main receivers haven't played one snap together. So just imagine when Mike Evans come back and Chris Godwin and Emeka Ibuka come, not come back, but be on the field together, man. That's a nice offense. And there's been rumors that they're trying to get Mark Andrews too. So if they could get him too, that'd be cool, bro. But
Yeah,
I think Tampa Bay is not to be slept with. I had them in my top five teams. If you check on my Instagram or on our stand on the Instagram, so I'm with you on that. The Lions and the Bucks look like one of the best two teams right now in the NFC. I know the Eagles is still the Eagles, but hey, it's hard to repeat as champions and come out that conference and be a Super Bowl champion or just represent that conference as well. So right now, Abuka though, man, like you said, I would personally say that wide receiver U is Ohio State, bro. I think they got so many
dominant.
receivers, bro. I know the elite receivers is LSU because you got Jay Jettis and Chase and even Malik Neighbors before he got hurt. But man, they just got like a plethora of wide receivers, man. They
So,
just grow on trees over there. And you got the young boy that ain't even came out, Jeremiah Smith. So hey, I'm with you on that.
so,
But yeah, bro. So we gonna go to the next one, but I'm gonna stop this recording because we gotta come back.
for sure.
All right, man. So hey, like we said, watch out for the Bucks. Rajay called it. He said they going to the Super Bowl. So hey, if they in the Super Bowl, he was the first to say it. All right, so now we're gonna go to the next game, which was the Sunday night football game, the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. Upset of the week, probably. Rajay, what were your thoughts on that game?
My biggest thoughts were is the Bills need to they're missing something, and we already kind of could see it from the offseason. They gave Shakir a big bag, but he's more of a slot receiver. They got Keon Coleman, who they picked high. They kind of want him to be their profile X receiver, that guy that could win in one-on-one matchups. But I still think they're missing that receiver that like I said, Keon Coleman is not really a separator. He's more of like a contested catch kind of dude. They need
Hmm.
to do that play in, play out. They can find him when they need him on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 to consistently convert. And that used to be Stephon Diggs for them. And it was ironic because he was on the other side doing the exact same thing for Drake May instead of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But we kind of mentioned this guy earlier talking about somebody that might not be on their team going forward. And one of the things, it's not necessarily a prediction, but I think it could end up working out this way. And it'd be crazy if it did, is AJ Brown possibly getting
Hmm.
traded to the Bills. And the reason I say that is typically when a team trades a really good guy, they don't want to trade him to somebody in their conference. So the
Hmm.
Bills being in the AFC, Eagles in the NFC. I don't know necessarily how the draft capital or whatever will work out, but AJ Brown being on the Bills will be giving them that significant win rate kind of guy that has to like now you got to shift coverage to this dude. It gives problems for the Russian defense because you still have to account for Josh Allen and James Cook, and now you also have to roll a safety to help over the top of AJ Brown because he might just catch a 50-yard touchdown. I think that could be a real target. And on the other side of the ball, the Patriots defense just came up with key players. Christian Gonzalez, when he's healthy, is one of the best corners in the league.
No doubt.
The Patriots just balled and they won this game through and through for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Great point right there about the Bills receivers. Hey, if they could have used Stephon Diggs last time they played, and I'm with you on that. But it's like a sometimes you can't really be complaining about that because honestly, that's what won Josh Allen MVP last year. Because in my opinion, I feel like Lamar got robbed. But the main reason why they were saying Josh won MVP because he doesn't have a number one receiver or blah blah blah. He did it without Diggs and blah blah blah. His turnovers is going down. But hey, you see that when you're going against good defenses like that, you got to have people that can win one-on-ones and get open, like you said, separate. And they couldn't really find that consistent person. And New England run game or run defense is real good. They limit James Cook to under 100 yards, and he was having that the last four games they played. So I'm with you on that. Um, Stephon Diggs took this game real personal. It was a revenge game. He had a great game, back-to-back games with 100 yards. Drake May was having a coming out party. He was doing his thing, throwing the ball around. I think New England have their next two games is very favorable. I think they play the Saints this Sunday and they play the Titans the week after, so they could easily be 5-2. And I was this close from having them going to the playoffs. I know the season is still long, but I can see them making the playoffs now because a couple of my playoff teams, I don't think they're making it. I had the Bengals, I had the Raiders. We'll get on them in a minute, and I had the Ravens. I think the Ravens have the best chance out of those three teams. But hey, man. But yeah, Drake May's doing his thing, man, and I like their defense, and they're just gonna have to keep getting him more weapons. And Stephon Diggs took that game personal, but I was not surprised. Buffalo been their schedule had they been playing these teams, these bottom feeders, and New England they played a good team and they lost, so hopefully they could bounce back against the Falcons on Monday night. But that was a great game. It was a very entertaining game, and the turnover battle was the reason why New England won. They had to force three turnovers, and I think that was the all in be all on that game. So yeah, man. So hey, the last game that we'll talk about is the Chiefs and Jags. That was Monday Night Football. That was a great game. What are your thoughts on that game, bro?
I think it was a good game. Kind of, it's interesting. The Chiefs kind of have a similar issue as the Bills, where they don't have that consistent dude that can win in one-on-one situations, and that kind of starts to shoot them in the foot, especially when you get down into those moments, those gotta have it moments, those third downs and stuff. The good thing for them though is they got Rasheed Rice coming back soon, and that he is that guy for them that will be their chain mover and stuff. And I think having him will also open up the field for Xavier Worthy because now. I think early on what they had to do, and we didn't really get to see it the first 3 weeks because obviously that first play with Travis, that play with Travis Kelce gets hurt and he misses
Mm-hmm.
the game. But I think what happens is, and it happened last year when Rasheed Rice went down, is they start to put Worthy in that spot where they're motioning him around and kind of using them in a similar way. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you get Rasheed Rice back, you have him as that guy that you can move around, kind of be a chess piece, similar to what the Cowboys do with CeeDee Lamb, moving around and you can have Xavier Worthy be a deep threat guy, you'll see more of those deep balls going. I think that's the reason why Tyquan Thornton has been getting a lot of the deep balls is because he's playing the Xavier Worthy role while Xavier Worthy plays the Rasheed Rice role.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for the Jags, I think the Jags they played pretty well. The only thing I think from that game that I take away going forward for them is I think Travis Hunter going from here on out is going to be more and more involved. We saw when he got the big reception for about 40 yards. And he only
Mm-hmm.
three targets, three catches for 60 some yards. He's just the type of player that it's hard to describe, but you can just see it when you see it. He's special. When you get the ball in
Yeah.
his hands, when you can get him in space and you can let him go be a playmaker, he will make plays for you. And I think, especially now with Britton Strange being out, it kind of consolidates the target share a little bit more between BTJ and Travis. But the Chiefs are always going to be one of those teams that we got to worry about. But it's getting to a point in the year where we can't just lean on prestige anymore. And especially you talked about the Ravens and what their situation is getting to that stage. Kind of what happened to the Bengals last year is they got behind the eight ball and they lost games they shouldn't have lost. And then you can put yourself in a position where you get come week 8, week 9, week 10, every single game is a must win if you want to make the playoffs. So the pressure is starting to mount for the Chiefs, but I think the Jaguars did everything they needed to win, and they're looking like a serious contender in the AFC South.
Hey man, I'm with you on that. That was a great game. I will start with the Chiefs first. Last year they won all their one score games. They were 11-0 in one score games, and now this year they're 0-3 in one score games. So, like I said, previous episodes, you can't keep banking on this what they were doing, bro. Like everything was real tedious. Like uh Mahomes sliding, keeping the clock rolling, that win the game, block field goals against the Broncos, blah blah blah. But hey, man, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass sometimes when you keep trying to rely on that. You see what happened when they lost to the Chargers. They didn't contain Justin Herbert. He scrambled for almost 20 yards and won the game. You see the Eagles game, they lost Travis Kelce. The ball was right in his hands. He dropped the ball and it turned into an interception. In the last game they just had, Mahomes threw a pick six for a 99-yard return by Devin Lloyd. So that cost them. And then the special team stuff, bro. Like they had bad field position and it messed up everything because they got a penalty or not. Yeah, they got a holding penalty. So they started back real far and they didn't even get a chance for to get a field goal or anything because they were so far back. But I just think they're relying on Mahomes too much. And like you're saying, they have Rashee Rice coming back next week. But right now they just got Worthy. You see, when Worthy played the Ravens, their offense opened up. I mean, I know everybody looked good against the Ravens defense right now, but they when he came back, he was doing his thing, bro. So I just think they got to figure it out. Maybe Rashee Rice can spark their offense, but I mean, their offense wasn't that bad. They scored 28 points against the Jags, but they just got to figure it out. But they could be very well be 2-4 tomorrow against the Lions. So if they go 2-4, that's gonna be crazy. So they got to get it together, bro. Because like you said, they keep hoping that the prestige and the moxie of the Chiefs, but you still got to go out and win those games, bro. And you messing up seeding, and most likely if you go 2-4, you're not getting no home field advantage. So
Right.
I'm with you on that. And for the Jags, they're probably the surprise team so far through the first 6 weeks of the season. And they've been winning their games despite Trevor Lawrence. This was probably his best game he had in a long time. And that throw that he made to Brian Thomas Jr. for that deep ball, that was one of his best throws in his career. And I just think, like you said, having Travis playing both ways, and they're still not using him enough, in my opinion. I've been watching Travis Hunter since he went to Jackson State, and he's better with the snaps. The more snaps he gets, the more touches he get, and you've seen that, like you said, that deep ball that he came back and caught like a cornerback. He tracked the ball, got it, rose up, caught the ball over two people. That's what he's used to doing, like I said. So I just think they just gotta figure it out. I know it's like nobody has played both ways in a long time, and I know it's probably an adjustment period, but I think they gotta give them some more targets, like you said. And yeah, man, their defense is good. Devin Lloyd is having an all-pro year right now. He almost ran out of gas on that pick six, but he made it in there. And they gotta one note, they gotta keep those jerseys they have for Monday Night Football because those jerseys is clean. There was a lot of good jerseys this week, bro. I'm with you on that.
So,
But yeah, man, that's a wrap for the week 5 recap. And now we on to segment 2. In this segment, we'll be talking about our Raiders. I don't
mhm.
want to do this segment, but I got forced to do it by Rajay, bro. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna let
man.
him go. I'm gonna let him go on the Raiders, and then I'll add my 2 cents. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right if we didn't speak on it, you know what I'm saying? Going into this year, I thought that so take it all the way back to the draft. When we picked Genty, I knew I still believe in him as a talented player, but I kind of was iffy on the pick just because I knew the offensive line was not solidified. And if you don't have the holes open for the running back, if you don't have time for your quarterback, everything else is going to come out of that, and it's just not good. And so, I think that especially when people were criticizing Jitty. That kind of shut up after the Bears game when he went off on them. But
Yep.
people were kind of, there was rumblings of people acting like he was a bust, and you see little posts and stuff like that, and you just hear the sentiment, and it's so obvious that he's such a talented player. But I think one of the biggest issues with the Raiders right now is and I thought he was going to be a positive is Gino. You know what I mean? And as much as I saw Gino did a press conference, and out of his 12 interceptions or 11 interceptions, whatever he got right now, 6 of them came off of passes that were deflected.
Mm-hmm.
So to cut him a little bit of slack, I mean, if it's a batted ball from the D line or if it's a popped up ball out of a receiver's hands, it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
blame the quarterback for that. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, these are like the consistent miscues that we've seen. And I've been a Raider fan my whole life, and I've seen the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And I was hoping Lil was gonna be on this episode so I could talk to him about that take, saying Gio is the best
Woo!
quarterback we've had, and I don't know how long because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah. I'm
Carr
with
will
you.
never be forgotten. I'm never gonna let people forget that. That was his MVP. But still, I think the biggest thing is it's not going to change so we can change in the trenches. The reason why the defense is still able to do things that we're able to do, even though our DBs aren't that great, is because in the trenches we're actually pretty solid. Max Crosby and the other dudes down there were able to feast and make things happen and be disruptive. But until we're able to get some stability on the offensive side, obviously you had mentioned it before, but we got Colton Miller. He's probably our best offensive lineman we have. But other than him, everything else is kind of a question mark. And so we got to get some dudes that can, I'm hoping end up with Spencer Fanu out of Utah,
Mm-hmm.
offensive tackle. He can move. He's a big dude, and everything about him just profiles as exactly what we want. But kind of talking about the game this past week, it was a ugly slaughter, of course,
Whew.
but it kind of validates something. So for people that don't know, I play a little fantasy football, and there's different types. There's redraft where you draft your team every year, and then there's dynasty where you basically keep your players. You draft them all at the beginning, you keep them year over year, and then when the rookies come in, you just draft the rookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this dynasty league, we're doing the startup, so the original draft, and it's like the 11th round. It's a 2 quarterback league, so quarterbacks are more valuable in the typical league. You get to about the 11th round, and I realized I only have one quarterback. So what I ended up doing is I took Chris Godwin, who I drafted in the 9th round, and I traded for the 11th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Richardson had just went right before that, so I already knew Daniel Jones was coming up, and I had the feeling that Daniel Jones was going to do what he was doing. And I already sent Tate the screenshots. He'll probably throw it up on when we post a YouTube video. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that every year for like the last 5 years, there's been one quarterback that was a highly touted prospect coming out. He ended up in a situation that wasn't best for him, whether it be O-line, weapons, play calling, whatever the situation was, and end up in a new situation years later, and they just blossom. And now all of a sudden, everybody's like, wow, how did we miss it? He was always that good, blah, blah. Before Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, before he started going back to Jets Geno. And now we see it happening with Daniel Jones. And it's funny because in seeing it before, I mean, if you go back and look at those Giants teams, he didn't have, I mean, he had Saquon Barkley, but he didn't have a whole bunch of receivers except for Malik Neighbors last year. He didn't have a great O-line. Brian Daboll was a suspect play caller. Now he gets into a situation where he has Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, Alec Pierce. Like you have all these weapons around you, one of the best offensive lines in the league, and a defense that's playing out of their mind. And now
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones looks like an MVP candidate. But it happens. It just goes to say that a lot of what is going on in the NFL is a lot more about scheme and coaching and what position they're putting their players in versus just the players themselves. So I know that's a little bit of a long spiel, but tell you how you feeling about the Raiders, man. I gotta hear it.
Ooh, man. Hey, man. I agree with a lot of what you said. I just want to say that all my friends, I got 2 different Raider group chats, man, and all my friends know that I told them that I was never sold on Geno, and they said, "Oh, he's this and that," and like you said, Khalil, he's not a Raider fan, he's a Niner fan, and he was happy, he was ecstatic that, or he probably was mad Geno left because shoot, he was throwing interceptions or whatever, but he said this is the best quarterback we had in the last 25 years. And even if we cross out Derek Carr, everybody, a lot of people call me a Derek Carr fanboy, whatever. It's okay. But Rich Gannon was in 2002 when he won MVP. So even then, we could go there. But I just think, bro, we keep going through all these regimes, going through all these quarterbacks. going through all this overhaul, and I think we're not meshing. Like we still have a problem with the O line, like you said. Our best defensive player feel like it's 1 against 11. Max Crosby is doing damage, but he don't have no running mates. And I just think that it's hard being a Raider fan, bro. We've been through a lot, and I feel like we thrive in chaos because when people was out, Raiders players was out here killing people, we made the playoffs. Henry Ruggs, Henry Ruggs killed somebody, we make the playoffs. Damon Arnett threatened to kill somebody, we in the playoffs. Our coach was being racist or whatever he did, we make the playoffs. We went to the playoffs with an interim coach. We was 6-7, went on a 4 game winning streak, made the playoffs, beat the Chargers to make the playoffs, and we gave the Bengals hell, and they end up making the Super Bowl. But the year after that, we get Josh McDaniels and Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones, and we win 6 games. And mind you, we had 2 All-Pro running back and a receiver, first team All-Pro, and we won 6 games with that. So it's just like, man, I don't know what. I guess we thrive on chaos, man. I just think, in my opinion, we should have got Shador. I'm a big Shador fan, and I know people was like, oh, blah blah blah. We had multiple opportunities to get him. He could have backed up Geno, learned from Geno, and then gave the keys to him. Geno is an older quarterback, and we tied to him for the next 2 years, but this year right now it's been bad. Like you said, some of those turnovers are not his fault, but some of them are, and they're costly turnovers in key moments of the game. That is the reason why it's very agonizing. Because like we need this play right here, we need a first down, we need a score, and you throw a ball in the double coverage or sometimes triple coverage, like that is real frustrating. And then we got our ass whooped against the Colts. And like you said, I wasn't big on Daniel Jones. I actually had the Colts, I think, finishing last in that division, and I feel like an idiot now, but I wasn't sold on Daniel Jones, but he's been doing his thing. But the Raiders, we got a lot of work to do. I had us in the playoffs because I thought our offense was going to carry us because we're Brock Bowers, but he hasn't been himself. He ain't been healthy, so that's been hurting him. I thought about Genty, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, but hey, we need an offensive line. Like you said, the trenches is where you win your games, bro. If you're not good in the trenches, you're not winning it. They don't call it the trenches for no reason. It's for a reason. You got to get grimy and dirty and get in there and make sure you stop the pass rush that's coming and what blah blah blah. And I just think we're not doing that. So it's hard being a Raider fan, man. You can't say we not loyal, man.
Right.
Hey, can't nobody say I'm not a loyal dude. I've been a Raider fan all my life, seen 2 playoffs that I can actually remember. Just imagine if you was in a relationship and you only got 2 good years out of 24 being together. Would you stay with them? Fuck no. So don't ever say I'm not loyal, man. This is
Example.
my
Example.
biggest fear, y'all, is when I die, by the time once I die and shit, the Raiders is gonna be good and win the Super Bowl. I'm gonna be in heaven like, what? No, no, no. So man, it's real agonizing though. But hey man, hopefully we get a dub this week against the Titans. We're gonna get into the week 6 predictions, and then we're gonna go from there. But if there's something else you want to spill on the Raiders real quick, you can, and
Yeah.
we can do our rapid fire predictions.
Yeah, last thing, and I think this is kind of tied to the last couple of quarterback situations. We had Jimmy G, and then we had Minshew, and then we had Geno. I think the last for 3 to 5 years, pretty much the post-Carr era at
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, we got to stop being cheap, bro. We can't be cheap with our picks. We can't be
Mm-hmm.
cheap with our contracts. I know, with the salary cap evolving and everything going on, people forget that $35 million this year is not the same as $35 million 8 years ago. So
Nope.
like that is like a max contract before, but now
Mm-hmm.
that's really bridge quarterback money. So you see $35 million, and it's funny because people post, oh, Geno robbing the Raiders for the yeah, sure, whatever. It's funny in his jokes, but the reality of it is the highest paid quarterbacks in the league are getting paid 50 plus million dollars. Brock
Yeah.
Purdy plus, Jalen Hurts 50 plus, Lamar, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud,
Trevor.
Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes. That's
Even
like
Tua.
exactly. These dudes are making in excess of 45, $50 million. So when you look at 35, if you scale it back, 35 is the new 25 that it was
Yeah.
5 to 10 years ago. And so we understand that Geno was bridge quarterback money. He was a bridge quarterback coming in. He's 34, 35 years old. He wasn't going to be the quarterback of the future. So we still need to invest in the position. And how we got Geno was what, a third round pick.
Yep.
We talk about the investment. It has to be second round pick, first round pick, or it has to be a guy that slipped in the draft but was coming up and was a highly touted prospect, a really good prospect. And I think we need to get better at identifying that. And then if we're gonna go another route and we're trading for a quarterback, it needs to be a guy that is gonna make a difference, not just a dude that can come in and be all right, but somebody that's going to come in and we can design the system around him. I love what the Giants did with getting Jackson Dart is because they identified a dude that can lead their team, was aggressive and traded up and got him, and then also brought in a bridge quarterback in Russell Wilson. And now you see them being able to hand the keys off to him when they feel like he's ready, and now he's able to play. So I feel like we need to do a similar thing, and it can't be, oh, we're going to have Gardner Minshew, hope Devontae Adams can carry and Brock Bowers can carry him. Or we're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo and hope that Devontae Adams can stay out of the hospital while he's throwing the football. No, we need to go ahead and get a dude. We need to identify a Lenore Sellers, John Mateer, one of these high marquee prospects. And even if they're not ready to play right away, we got to get somebody that's going to develop and to have some hope. Because goddamn, we ain't had no hope in 10 years.
Yep, 2016, bro. That's when I thought we was gonna win it all. I'm absolutely, yeah, man. Hey, man, this is not gonna be your last episode with us, so we definitely have you on again and talk about this team. So hey, I appreciate you telling the truth. We here to be honest, you guys. We here to be honest. It hurt. I didn't even want to talk about this, but hey, I feel good to get some stuff off my chest now. So now we're gonna go with our week 6 predictions. Me and Rajay gonna pick the teams who we think we're gonna win, and then we wrap it up with songs of the day and shout outs. So hey, we'll start off like this. The first game in London, the Broncos and Jets. Who are you rocking with this game?
So I'll probably take the Broncos. The Jets, obviously, they're 0-5 right now. They still haven't won a game. They're the only team in the NFL that hasn't won a game. And the difficult part is obviously any given Sunday, any day, the Jets can go out and finally get that first win. But I think the Broncos are just not the team. They have Garrett Wilson, and really Mason Taylor's a good player, but nobody really established beyond that. So I think Patrick Tan will be able to neutralize him from there. And outside of that, I just don't think that the Jets have enough offensively to get it done against the Broncos defense. So I'm taking Broncos to give a line like +7 for sure, or -7.
I'm gonna go. Uh, I'm gonna go Broncos. I know they just beat the Jets. I mean, not beat the Jets. Sorry, beat the Eagles. And sometimes you can have a little. You feeling yourself. They're going all the way to London. This could be an upset game. The Jets are 0-5 right now, still looking for their first W. So, but I'm gonna go with the Broncos. And yeah, I think they can do their thing. I don't know what's going on with Sauce Gardner though. He getting beat. They just paid him all this money and keep getting beat every game I'm watching them play. So he got to get that shit together. Maybe he gonna have to break up an Ice Spice or something and get back in the lab because he's looking terrible. But next game we're gonna go the Browns versus the Steelers. Who are you going with in this game?
Kind of the same thing. I'm not going to try to be too smart and everything. I think the Steelers will come out and they'll do what they have to do. I think it'll be closer, and the Browns are easily a top 3 defense in the NFL right now, if not the number 1 defense in the NFL, especially against the run. They're tough, and I think Denzel Ward is one of the top 5 corners in the league. If we do on the Standonitpod, if we do a top ranking the top DBs in the league, I would love to be on that. And Denzel Ward is easily in the top 5. We saw what he did to Jamar Chase in week 1, and I think even Khalil said it in the last episode is the Browns are just built to give you an off week. Because not only do they have the pass rush up front and just a solid front 7, but they also have the DBs that can really give guys fits in those one-on-one situations. But saying all that, I still don't think I'm not sold on Dylan Gabriel. I think he looked better than Flacco did previously, and he was especially able to establish that connection with Njoku and Fannin. But unless he's able to actually get the ball to his receivers and come up with big games with guys like Isaiah Bond, Jerry Jeudy, whoever else is lined up on the outside, I just don't think that they'll have enough. They'll be able to put up enough points and keep up with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm taking Steelers, and I think like I said, I think it's closer than what it says. I think it's more like a field goal kind of game, but I still think the Steelers are gonna come away with the dub.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers, man. I think Only thing I'm worried about is that pass rush getting to Aaron Rodgers. You know, Myles Garrett could have a Myles Garrett type of game. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not sold on Dylan Gabriel. I'm just waiting for till they put my boy in at quarterback. But I just think that the Steelers have enough to win the game. And Dylan Gabriel is not throwing the ball deep. He's just doing short routes. He didn't have any completions over 10 yards. So I think the fourth quarter. So I just think that the Steelers should win this game. But I think it might be a field goal game, like you said. So I'm with you on that. The next game is the Colts versus the Cardinals. And keep in mind, Kyler Murray is out for this game. But I don't think that would have made a difference either way. But just letting you know that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no,
who are you rocking with?
that's big. And then, I'm riding with the Colts. I think the same thing is going on. This train is rolling. And so Jonathan Taylor's looked like an MVP type of candidate, at least a fantasy MVP, because he put up 30 points every week pretty much. But
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is the Colts, the big difference between this year and last year is the stability in the pass game, and that's coming from Daniel Jones. And so the fact that you can't just sell out for the run because they can win on the outside. And obviously, Tyler Warren being the guy he is, I think he's going to have a big game just because they're able to scheme him open and get him the easiest touches and the easiest looks. But another thing, I'm not going to, Jacoby Brissett is a pro, but I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up, and they're not going to be able to score enough points to stay in the range of the Colts. So yeah, Colts minus 8 at least. Sure.
Yeah, I ain't gonna take too much time on this one. I'm gonna go with the Colts. I probably would have picked them even with Kyler Murray being out there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts. Next game is Chargers versus Dolphins. Who are you rocking with in that game, bro?
So this is probably the first upset I'm picking, but I'm gonna take the Dolphins. And the reason
Okay.
being is the Chargers are battling a lot of injuries right now. Joe Alt is banged up. Rashawn Slater, they got a lot of injuries to the offensive line. Obviously, Amari Hampton just got put on the IR. And
Hmm.
so we saw it against the Giants, what happened as I think that was again that Joe Alt actually got hurt, but
Hmm.
they were able to get a lot of pressure and be in Justin Herbert's face. And I don't think the run game is going to be as much of a factor. Obviously, now that you got your top two backs with Amari Hampton and Najee Harris being out for this game. And so I think the Dolphins, they're playing motivated. Tua looked really good the last couple of weeks, and I think he'll be able to continue that. And it like we I said it before, it's the NFL. Somebody any given Sunday. So as much as like we like to say, oh, this team is favored, they have the better players, X, Y, Z, these are all professionals. And so somebody has to upset somebody in some of these spots. And I think the Dolphins, especially at home, are primed to be able to do that with the Chargers coming in banged up and everything. So I'm taking the Dolphins.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna actually go with the Chargers. I think the Dolphins is a shit show right now, and I think Mike McDaniel will be out of there next year or this year. And I think Tua, if they can move off his contract, he'll be gone too. You heard Tyreek; they said that they're not bringing him back after this year. So I just think it's going downhill. I lost faith in them after that Panthers game. They were up 17-0 and let them come back and win. I think if Justin Herbert doesn't turn the ball over there, they should be able to still win this game. And because their Miami corners can't cover anybody. Jack Jones is always getting pass interferences or holding or something. I just think I don't know, bro. I just think they. All right, well, so I'm gonna have the Chargers on that one, and we should see how that game goes. The next game we will be picking was the Cowboys versus the Panthers. Who you got in that game, bro?
Yeah, so it's another one of those ones where it's like when you have such a bad defense, you could always lose. And we saw that with the Bengals
Mm-hmm.
a lot last year, where the Bengals down the stretch of the year averaging about 30 points and they still were losing games. That being said, I'm still picking the Cowboys, but I just don't. It's not like a super good pick. I would not be surprised at all if the Panthers came out and won this game just off of the strength that the how Rico Dowdle and the running game looked last week was just immaculate. And so if they're able to come out and have some similar success, they'll be able to control the game. And I think
Mm-hmm.
their defense isn't great, but that running game and being able to control the clock and maintain time of possession will be big because Dak Prescott's been playing like MVP candidate. So the more you can keep him off the field, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I still am picking the Cowboys to win the game, but it's one of the ones that I'm not the most sold on for sure.
Yeah, bro, I'm with you. Their defense is definitely giving up a lot of points to bad teams, and Hey, you see Russ. Russ had one good game, and it was against them. Boys looking like an MVP candidate just off that one game. So I'm with you on that. I just think if they could get pressure on Bryce, then that'll be the recipe for success for their defense. Is trying to get some pressure. I think T Mac might have a good game. Might get over 100 yards this game. Like he said, their defense isn't the best, but I'm still gonna go with the Cowboys. This is a game they have to win. They division is hard. They got the Commanders, the Eagles, and them, and I guess if the Giants keep doing what they're doing, they got them, but you can't like give away the games that you should win. So, and that for that reason, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. The next game is the Patriots versus the Saints. Who do you have in that game?
I'm taking the Patriots, and this one I think I'm more confident than the Cowboys in the sense that I think last week, especially Drake May going up against Josh Allen and coming out with that win. We talk all the time about how wins are a quarterback stat or a head coach stat, how wins get attributed to those guys. But when you do get the win, or wins and losses, but when you do get those wins, and especially in primetime matchups, and we see Diggs coming along, I think the offense is starting to gel and they're finally starting to get that consistency. And what I've been talking about for other teams is being able to have that dude when you have 3rd and 8 and you can go get a guy to get open and win against a one-on-one in that situation. And I think Diggs is emerging as that guy. When it comes to ACL tears and injuries and stuff like that, he had an ACL tear last year. The further you
Mm-hmm.
get away from that injury, the more the guy starts to feel like himself. Because at that
Mm-hmm.
point, it's more of a mental thing. It's just being comfortable, understanding that when you put your foot down, it's going to be in the right spot and you're not going to have to go through that again. And I think the further we get away from that tear, we see Stephon Diggs look more and more like himself. And I just think that Drake May is going to come out and just show everybody why he was a top 5 pick in his draft. So I think I got Patriots kind of comfortably, like Patriots -6.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going with the Patriots. Like I said, these are the next two games they have are very winnable games, and they should win these games if they're really trying to take themselves serious as a playoff team. So I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I think, like you said, their defense it should give Spencer Rattler problems. I don't know if Christian Gonzalez is playing. They say he has a hamstring injury. He's been dealing with that since training camp, but I'm still gonna go with the Patriots. So I could see Stephon Diggs having another game like he did against the Bills. Next game, this is a toss-up game. Might be one of the closest games for these next three teams that we talk about might be toss-up games. So the Seahawks and Jaguars. Who are you rolling with in this game and why?
Uh, it's funny because last week, and I was thinking the Seahawks were going to get the win because they were at home and they were playing against the Bucs. And if you think about just
Mm-hmm.
opposite sides of the country, the Bucs have to travel probably the farthest that you could possibly travel from Florida all the way to Seattle. And now
Yep.
it's flipped. So now they're playing the Jags, and the Seahawks are at the Jags. So now they're going to have to
Yeah.
all the way down to Florida. And and I like Seattle, but even looking at the line, it's even. So it's like a -1.5. It's one of those games that I think it'll come down to who's making the right decisions. It's gonna come down to one of the two quarterbacks either executing or not executing. And in that situation, I trust Sam Darnold more. I think over the course of the last 17 games last year and then the first 5 games of this season, he's just proven that you can trust him. He's not going to turn over the football. He will push the ball downfield, and he can make those tough throws that where you have to layer it over a defender and into a
Mm-hmm.
window and just those he's been playing at a really good level to the point where if it comes down to either Sam Darnold or Trevor Lawrence, I'm taking Darnold. So I got Seahawks, but it's very, very close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
Yeah, I'm actually rocking with you on that too. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I think Mike McDaniel is gonna get after Trevor Lawrence with his coverages, the size and coverage, or whatever, blitzing, whatever. And I just think I can see Trevor Lawrence having multiple picks this game. I think it's gonna be a shootout though. The back end for Seattle is very shaky. Their number one corner, quote unquote, Tyreek Woolen is not playing, and I think that's a good thing because he's been getting beat a lot and he's been in a lot of trade rumors as well. So I think it could be a shootout. And I can see this game being like a 31-28 game. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks on that. The next game that's coming up is the Niners and the Bucs. Another toss-up game, in my opinion. Who are you going with in this game?
I'm going Bucks all the way. We talked about how I feel about Baker Mayfield and his team, but just in a vacuum, I think it's only like when you have a backup quarterback, you have that system, like it can help you survive. And we even saw this a little bit a couple years ago with Cooper Rush when Dak Prescott, not last year when he got hurt, but the other time I think he had hurt his wrist or his thumb, and he was out for about 4 games. And Cooper Rush came in, and it's always funny because people get on these talk shows and the starting quarterback goes out, or even John Moran. We talk about basketball. He got hurt, and they had a run where they were like 19-2 when he was out of the game, and then the dudes get on TV and start talking about, oh, are the Grizzlies better without John Morant? Like, come on, bro. Like, let's be real. Let's not do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the same time, it gets to a point where missing Brock Purdy, missing Pearsall again, missing Kittle, you're gonna start to take L's. And I think the Bucs are the type of team that they're going to keep scoring. If anything, the weakness of the Bucs is not the offense; it's going to be the defense. And
Right.
like when it gets to those moments, the Bucs are going to continue to put up points. And with Mac Jones, he's able to win a grinded out Thursday type of game against the Rams, and he's able to win a lot of these. But if you go back and look at his wins, I don't think the Niners have put up 30 points with Mac Jones as their starter. And this is the kind of game where you're going to have to put up 30 points. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks just put up 35 and still lost, right? So traveling down into Tampa, I think I got Bucs by -7. Honestly, I think they win this one pretty handily.
I think the game might be a little closer just because Godwin being out and Mike Evans. I think Robert Saleh is going to devise a plan to limit Emeka Ibuka. But I think the Bucs still will win this game. Like you said, Mac Jones, he might come back down to earth. Tampa defense is kind of shaky, but they can get pressure. Todd Bowles like to blitz a lot. So I can see that happening. So I'm going to rock with the Bucs. The next game, I don't even think we gotta take too much time on this one. The Bengals versus the Packers. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, right. I'm taking the Packers, and it's less about the quarterback in that situation. It's more about the defense of the Bengals. The Bengals can't stop a nosebleed, dog. They're not going to be able to do anything, and especially with the Packers coming in off of a bye. You got a rested and a healthy Josh Jacobs, and I just think it's gonna be one of them games where we as Raider fans are just going to be regretting the fact that we let him walk, because he's going to go out there 25 plus touches and probably 130 from scrimmage. So I wish it was out, right this moment, but y'all can come back to this pod, and when he clear all his overs and his parlay hit, anytime touchdown, everything, it's just going to make sense because Josh Jacobs is just that dude. Jordan Love, and then obviously the defense is also going to play well. I just think that it's another one of those games where the Packers have the capability to put up a lot of points, but I don't think they'll even have to. They're going to more so have those long, methodical drives to just take the air out of the ball. And they're at home, and it's just a hard place to play. So I'm taking the spread, Green Bay minus 13.5.
Yeah, bro, I'm with you. I'm gonna go with the Packers. Flacco coming in on short notice, trying to learn the offense, trying to build rapport with the receivers. I think it's gonna, I can see him throwing some picks. So I think the Packers should win this game. I know they just came off having that tie with the Cowboys, so I can see them winning this game by a couple scores. So I'm with you on that. And the last game we'll talk on will be the Lions and Chiefs Sunday Night Football. Who do you have in this game and why?
All right, so it's funny because you look at the records, and obviously we know the teams. You would think Lions is the easy call, and and I think the Chiefs, this is one of those games they might just come out and just find a way. And there's not a whole bunch of like football talk that's leading me to this take. It's just one of them ones where you expect one thing and then the whole other everything goes the other way. And so I think Xavier Worthy's probably he's set up to have a big game. Terry Arnold, corner for the Lions, hasn't looked great this year.
And
And
he's out.
and he's out. Okay, so
Yep.
yeah.
Him and DJ Reed are both out.
Okay, and so Amik Robertson, another former Raider, but he's
Shout
a
out Meek.
really good player. But I just don't. I don't think that the Chiefs will stay down for too long. I think they'll come out and they'll understand. It's a different. So when we watched the Chiefs play the Giants a couple weeks ago, it's a different mindset and a different game you have to call, because you're going against the Giants. You're not expecting them to put up a lot of points. And so you can kind of live with being a little more conservative. I think we see Andy Reid dig deeper into that play calling back going against the Lions, because they're the type of team that if they're 4th and 2, anywhere beyond like their own 45, they're going for it every time. They're gonna push the envelope. They're gonna bring out everything they got, and they're gonna try to dominate you. And the last time we saw the Lions play the Chiefs, it was a really close game. I think it was the opener of not last year, but maybe the year before that. And
Yep.
we saw the Lions take the win, but I think the Chiefs will go, like I said, into that bag and the black magic. They're gonna start pulling out some stuff we ain't seen in a couple years. And
That
so,
voodoo.
yeah, that voodoo, man. I think I got Chiefs -3.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on what you're saying, but I'm gonna actually go with the Lions. I think the Lions look like the best team in the NFL right now. After that game against Green Bay, ever since then they've been just beating teams by a pope, or their offense is putting up 30 plus every game. So I just think I know that DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold is both out, but Arnold wasn't good when he was on the field, so they're not really losing too much with him. I just think that's gonna be a shootout, but I think that Jared Goff and them, their offense is just too good right now. And I just think that if they could put up 25 to 30, Dan Kelman was going to go on 4th and 50 if he have to. So I think I'm going to go with the Lions. That should be a great game. I'm not doubting the Chiefs, though, about still making the Super Bowl. This could be a Super Bowl preview. You never know. So I'm going to go with the Lions, though. So, yeah, that is a wrap with the Week 6 predictions. Me and Rajay made our picks. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we will go back and see what our record is from both of us. We both have a couple of games that we didn't agree on, so we'll see how we did. Rajay, any shout outs that you want to go ahead?
Just a shout out to my team, man. Like I said before, I coach varsity football. I'm a DB's coach at Silverado High School here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're recording this on a Saturday. Yesterday, we just had our last game, just improved to 6-1. At the 4A level, we're looking to make a state championship run. So, shout out to them boys, man. That's it.
All right, well, now we're gonna get into and shout out, my bad. Shout out to my boy Khalil, bro. We waiting for you to come back to the pod. You take care of some business. It's all love. Appreciate you. Shout out my boy. And yeah, shout out everybody that won their fantasy matchups. I know I lost my matchup to somebody. Drew. Shout out Drew and everybody else that won. He beat me in the fantasy matchup. I'm 1-4, y'all, so I gotta get the ball rolling on that. But yeah, man, the songs of the day for me is Here I Am by Rick Ross. That's a banger. Y'all go slap that. Rajay, what's your song of the day?
Song of the day got to be Special Affair by the Internet, man. This is a throwback banger. Just remind me of 2K17 when they come on. As soon as y'all put it on, anybody that played 2K17, you're going to hear it, and it's almost like hearing Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's the same vibe. Put you back in that place when you're looking at that white screen with Paul George on it, man. So, yeah.
It took forever to load up for sure. Yeah, man, that's a wrap. Hey, man, if you checking this podcast out, hit us up on all our social medias. Hey, we got hoodies, $50 if you want a hoodie. I got all sizes. Just hit me up. And hey, Rajay, I appreciate you joining, being our first guest. So the Stand On It podcast. We will be seeing you soon again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's love. I'll be here every time y'all invite me, for sure.
Nah, for sure. Well, that's a wrap, guys. We'll catch y'all on the next episode on Monday. Peace.
You pick the side, I just hope you gon' stand on it.